Hello, everybody, and this is my primary source. It's from the Tulsa Daily World, and it was published on November 3rd, 1918. It's called Discriminating Against Mother. Who's Mother? Guess we'll have to find out. Who is agitating the women's suffrage movement? Not the mothers of America. The 8 national suffrage leaders are childless women. Who would vote if women's suffrage came? Not the mothers. They are too busy to engage in politics, and they seldom vote. But if they don't have the right to vote, would it make sense that they would seldom vote and why they stay out of politics? Well, women hold office under women's suffrage, not the mothers, but those women who have been characterized as the third sex. What does third sex mean? What could they possibly mean by that? Who profits under women's suffrage? Not the mother nor the state, but those corrupt political influences which manipulate the controlled vote. What is the suffrage attitude toward the mother? Motherhood is to become a protected industry, said Mrs. Pankhurst, and socialism adds that the state shall care for the child. What does that mean? I'm completely confused by that one right there. I guess I'll have to figure that one out. Protect the family and vote no on the women's suffrage amendment. Endorsed by Oklahoma Association Opposed to Women's Suffrage. What does this say over here? That is too close. There we go. Opinions of patriots against women's suffrage. Note, it will be observed that these men, just men, no women? These men are out of politics, and that their views are not influenced either by fear of the women's vote or by lively expectations of favors to come from the women's vote. Like statesmen. Thomas Jefferson. Didn't he help invent the light bulb or something? I think he was that person. All the world is now politically mad. Men, women, and children talk nothing else, and that naturally they talk much, loud, and long. Society is spoiled by it. But our good ladies, I trust, are too wise to wrinkle their foreheads with politics. American women have the good sense to value domestic happiness above all other, and to cultivate it beyond all other. So, Thomas Jefferson believes that women are smart enough that they prefer their family's happiness over others' happiness. Grover Cleveland. I'm familiar, but I can't remember from where. I am willing to admit that it was only after a more thorough appreciation of what female suffrage really means that I became fully convinced that its inauguration would vastly increase the unhappy imperfections and shortcomings of our present man-voting suffrage. It's especially susceptible to bad leadership, and other hurtful influences would constitute it another menacing condition to those which already vex and disturb the deliberate and intelligent expression of the popular will. The man-voting suffrage? Are they talking about when the Black Americans were trying to vote? Elihu Root. Don't know who that is. I am opposed to the granting of suffrage to women because I believe that it would be a loss to women, to all women, and to every woman. And because I believe it would be an injury to the state and to every man and every woman in the state. You just say woman one time. The time will never come when this line of demarcation between the functions of two sexes will be broken. I believe that it is an attempt to turn backward upon the line of social development, and that if the step will ever be taken, we go centuries backward on the march toward a higher, nobler, and purer civilization, which must be founded not in the confusion, but in the higher differentiation of the sexes. So, it sounds like you want segregation again, but not between black and white Americans, but between male and female. William Howard Taft, another familiar name, but I still can't remember who he was. If in any of the states now acting on the question I were called upon to vote, I would vote against giving the suffrage, because I think to force it on an unwilling or indifferent majority is to add to the electorate an element that will not improve its governing capacity. Don't understand that one. Churchmen. James Cardinal Gibbons. I regard women's rights, women and the leaders of the new school of female progress as the worst enemies of the female sex. Okay. I wish I could impress on American women the dangers that would attach to such innovation. I wish I could show them the ultimate result of participating in public life. It has but one end, the abandonment, or at least the neglect of the home. Technically, don't men do that? Leaving all the time? Don't they technically neglect the home? Rabbi Joseph Silverman. There is no difference between women's suffrage, socialism, and the present feminist movement. The one means the other, and no matter which cause wins first, disaster to matrimony and the home will follow. So women can vote, then it'll tear apart a marriage? Well, at all hazards, you must oppose these movements. They are subversive to the best interests of the child and will destroy all that God and man have in the past years built up. I call upon you to rise in your might, to use every means at command to grapple with this, the greatest enemy we have today, and sweep it from the face of the earth. But God made woman from man, didn't he? And man worked with woman to build up the garden. So they've been partners in it, equals, technically. I don't think you're correct. Bishop John H. Vincent, founder of Chautauqua, I think. When about 30 years of age, I accepted for a time the doctrine of women's suffrage and publicly defended it. Okay, so good so far. Years of wide and careful observation have convinced me that the demand for women's suffrage in America is without foundation and inequity, and if successful must prove harmful to society. No more support, I guess. The instinct of motherhood is against it. The basis conviction of our best manhood is against it. Oh, so your manhood's threatened. Wow. So much being for head of the house. The movement is at root a protest against the representative and relations and functions by virtue of which each sex depends upon and is exalted by the other. This theory and policy tending to the subversion of natural and divine order must make man less a man and woman less a woman. Divine order must make man less a man and woman less a woman. So if these are churchmen, they're going based off on the Bible. Where God had stated that women should listen to their husbands. But doesn't make sense, does it? I don't think he said. It just doesn't make sense. I'll have to think on this a bit longer.